Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we'll be going through another 100 vintage Penguin books. These are the ones numbered 2800 to 2900 in the main series. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so we'll start off with this one, 2818. Now, I had, from this particular 100 Penguin books, I had about 25 of them, so not many. So a lot of these are going to be brand new to me, and that is absolutely stonking. What a way to start. A lot of these are going to be brand new to me, all my collection. This one I definitely did have. So we're going to see some doubles today. But for me, also lots of books that I've never had or owned before, so that's good. That one has got a bit of a circle on, so I'm going to put to one side as one to polish. Fires of Youth. I suspect that if I find a book and it hasn't got the place and date where Alan, the original owner of these books, first bought them in the back, then it's a book that I already owned. I recognise this one. So these early ones here are not requiring any work at all, really. Anti-Death League. This one's really nice, but it's been laminated, you see. But it may well be better than the later copy that we find in a minute. Graham Greene. Yeah, so I believe the collection has a pretty comprehensive run from 2800 to 2900. And obviously the ones which are going to be doubles, these are going to be the ones that are going to be going into my my stock. I've only got 100 to do after this, which is 2900 to 3000 and a bit. So once they're done, I can then do a brand new sales video. So do look out for that one in the future. And this one's one that I own, but he's a little bit the worse for wear. So I'm going to pop that one in to be polished bit. We haven't needed to do any work yet, have we? This is because these were all ones that I previously owned, and I suspect I've been through and cleaned them up reasonably well. I'm hoping for a better copy of this one in the collection. This is Robert Van Gulik. Penguin published a few by Van Gulik, and these later ones are the scarcer ones. An odd B format. Penguin Mail Canon. So pop the B formats to one side as well. Significant difference. Yep, so these were all ones that were in my collection to begin with. The medium is the massage. Not 5p on the front. So I think this could be the first one which wasn't part of my collection. A very funky jacket there. 2816. Wow. I bet this is probably quite scarce, you know. Just a thought. Yeah, all the publishing information's in the back there. Yes, that's quite nice. That's an unusual book. Penguin New Writers, Beer in the Snooker Club. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. There we are. (1968). It's the sort of period we're looking at here with these penguins. So late 1960s. A Simonon. It's pretty nice. 12p. Fair enough. So with these later penguins, I've got penguins 1 to 1500 on display. They're on bookcases, readily accessible. I've then got a further 15 boxes, and time we've done the first 1 from 1501 to 3000. We're going to be looking at another 16 comic boxes full of penguins, and sadly I haven't got the bookcases for them, so they're just having to be boxed up. They're staying with me because I've got some other penguin series videos to do within the main series, so I do sort of always need them close to hand. They're not going into long-term storage or anything like that. But at the same time, you know, it's a shame I can't actually, at the moment at least, get them all out on display. But believe me, it's coming. Once I get my my dream library, I will have them all out then. These are cleaning up quite nicely. The willow pattern, another Robert Van Gulik, big spine crease on it. So whether this will be an improver on the one I've already got, I don't know. I did own all the Van Guliks, but they weren't all mint. Sadly, around this time there was a Judge D TV series. I think it was on BBC, and I don't think any of it exists anymore. I think it got lost. It wasn't saved. Fires of Youth. Here we are. It's got a little pen on there, which is a shame. Not much I'm going to be able to do about that pen, sadly. Oh look, it's come away. We're going to need to get the old glue out here. Right, first time we're using it today. This bottle's almost gone. It's served me very well. It's lasted much longer than I thought it was going to last. So I don't glue right up to the very edge because it'll only squidge out, you know. Yeah, that's going to need to set now. But it should be alright. The glue's really, really good. This one that I use. Memoirs of a New Man. Someone's decided to put their name on the front, but it's in pen. You can't Can't do much about that, sadly. Here we are. The Saddest Summer of Samuel S. Yeah. Okay, J.P. Don Levy. May Grey. This one's very, very worn. It's going to need a polish as well. A little bit of staining at the bottom there. Yes, not a great copy of that one, but it is what it is. Ed McBain, Like the Love. Not oh, it is an 87th precinct. I didn't think it was. But it clearly says it is. The Wapshot Scandal. This looks nice condition. Yeah, nice. The Wedding Party, H.E. Bays. Okay. A modern classic, Walter Greenwood, Love on the Dole. Yeah, lovely copy of that one. Very nice indeed. Right, just going to square these up. And we'll start another pile. So there's another copy of the lacquer screen, and it's actually better condition, believe it or not, than the one that I did earlier on. So that's good news. So slightly better, still not perfect, but slightly, a slight improver, shall we say. Not perfect, but not bad. Oh dear. The old science survey. Really quite deep, the pencil on this one. The cover's got a small tear in it, but apart from that, he's all right. Reinhardt in Love. Pretty nice copy of that one. Yeah, I'd say that's unread. Dog Ears, Gunter Grass. This is going to need a polish. Haven't got loads to polish. This is only the fourth one we've pinpointed as having a few cover marks that the old Mr. Sheen will tackle away at. That's in the polish part. John Updike. Very, very creased spine on this one. There we go. October the 1st is too late. So it's by Fred Hoyle, but it's not science fiction by the looks of it. Got a few marks on this one. Been through the old second-hand circuit a little bit. Atlas Used Records and Books in Perth. Oh, there we go. Put another wedge down here. Margaret Drabble. Now, I think this is another little batch of books that were in my collection already. So these have already been through the process. Yeah, this is one we saw earlier, but this one has been protected because it's been put into laminate, and it may be I end up keeping the laminated version. We shall see. This one says Penguin First inside. Well, in case you didn't know, all the books we're seeing are Penguin Firsts. Such is the way of things. There we are. 1968. Another copy of Like Gloves, another Ed McBain. Yep, so these are definitely ones that we have seen. Little Big Man. Or at least some of them we've seen. So I've been looking ahead. We've got Peregrine books to come, and we've got Penguin Poetry, and we've got another 100 of these. And then we can maybe start moving on to the normal 1970s Penguin books, of which there is an awful lot. But it will keep us going. We've still got Guild books to go through, and I've still got the Collins White Circle Westerns. So that's everything we've got coming up on the horizon. That's assuming I don't buy any more books. So I think we're going to be all right for the next few months. After that, well, we shall see. I haven't done any book bagging videos for quite some time, and partly because the bags are scarce, or they've become scarce. They're made in China, and then shipped to America. These are the BCW bags, and then they're shipped to the UK. But because there's the massive tariffs on imports from China into America, the price of the BCW bags is likely to skyrocket. So my friend, enterprising book dealer Dorset Bob, has gone straight to the source. He's gone direct to China rather than going through America, and he's going to try and get some imported himself, and we could well be in business. So watch this space is what I say to you. Watch this space, because once I've got a nice 1,000 in reserve, as it were, then I'll be well in the zone to start bagging up again, particularly my earlier Penguin books, which are desperately really in need of bagging up. I'm very pleased to get a nice copy of this, because my copy was nice, but it was laminated, so that's really, really nice. I do collect Kingsley Amis. I've never done a video on him, but I got a fair run of the first editions. This one I would have liked to have been in better condition, but I'm just glad to have a copy. It does go for good money, this, like a £25 book. the Hell's Angel one by Hunter S. Thompson. Very, very scarce, highly collectible, and very much in demand. And until I got this copy in the collection, I'd never ever even seen one for sale. Although they do turn up, but they're always hammered. The black cover makes it particularly vulnerable to every crease and mark, and this has obviously been read a few times, but still a very, very scarce book indeed. And yeah, I'm just glad to have one in my collection. I'll probably never get an upgrade unless I get lucky. But yes, rare it is. So I'll give it a polish just to try and get it up a tiny bit. A little something on the back here, which I'm hoping to rub off. It's left a bit of a mark, but it was a bit of muck or mud or something. No other marks. I think I'll give that one a polish as well, actually. McLaughlin Hot and Cool. There we are. Uber LA, oh, smokes. Yeah, I think this one's going to need a polish as well, ever so slightly. Cork Street, next to the Hatters. What's the Hatters? Is that the Hat Fitters? I don't know. Maybe it's the name of a pub. Yeah, another one that I'm going to give a little bit of a polish to. That one's okay. Stepping Westward. Never seen that one before. So we're at approximately the halfway point now. Approximately. Which is pretty good. Obviously we're going to need to give these a brushing, and we've got a small pile we're going to need to polish once we're all done. But yeah, we're getting through them fairly swiftly, which is good. It's been about half an hour or so, and I'd say we're approximately halfway. So that's That's good stuff. Right, carrying on. The Poorhouse Fair. That's fine. Squares Progress. These little few must have been from my collection already, I am guessing. Yeah. Report from Iron Mountain. That's a little bit grubby. I think I'm going to give that a polish as well. Yeah, we've seen a copy of this, haven't we? This one I think is a bit tighter, but a slightly more faded spine, ever so slightly. Now, this one's a Penguin Classic, but it's in a protective sleeve again. Not as good as some of the protective books we've seen. The Boarding House. That's going to need a polish. In the polish pile. Lovely Iris Murdoch. Nice copy of that one. Tiny bit of a page turned over. There we are, that's got it. A mailer, another good one. There we are, nice. Another crossword book here. Lloyd, along the top. Usual situation with just the first couple that have been attempted. There we are, that's fine. Osborne's Army. It's getting a little bit grubby. There's a couple of little cover marks which I think that this one will benefit from having a polish with. With a bit of luck. £15p. Yeah, I'll give that one a polish as well, I think. The Grudge Fight. Never seen this before. Nicholas Freeling, the King of the Rainy Country. Now, he's a crime author I've not read, but I hear quite good things about him. So, answers down below. Is he worth reading? I've got a few now, so I'm tempted. There we are. The Flag, Robert Shaw. Cool. Definitely didn't have this one. This is the same Robert Shaw, the actor from Jaws. Who knew he was a writer as well, eh? Yeah, he is an actor in plays, films and televisions. From Russia with Love. And at the time this was printed, they don't mention his appearance in Jaws. That's because this is 1968. Jaws was, what, 1975? Filmed in about 74. So he hadn't done his brilliant Captain Quint in Jaws, which I believe was his best ever role. Lovely, nice-ish copy. And Veronica, this is a very late H.G. Wells, isn't it? And one I didn't have either, so this is nice. This was very late to the Penguin list. I wonder if somebody else had the rights to it, which stopped Penguin publishing it, maybe. Give it a little polish. That one's a tiny bit grubby. Ah, King Williamus. I like it here. Yeah, this was his follow-up to Lucky Jim, I believe. So this was his second book. And the first two were first paperbacked by Foursquare. Oh, another science survey. I can barely control my excitement. Not. Vertical and horizontal. '20th of July, 1974, in Bath. That's where Alan first picked this one up. And it's basically was in his collection for 50 years until it ended up with me. As we say, as us collectors say, we are mere custodians of this stuff for a limited amount of time until we croak it or decide to sell it. Very, very worn spine on this one. Shame because it's a classic like Wild Sargassio Sea. That's a shame. Key book, this one. '68. Yeah, shame. I'll keep it, obviously, but it's going to be on the upgrade list. Into the Whirlwind. It's like a wartime book. There's Stalin on the front. Lovely. So let's just square this little pile up because we've got about the same again to go, and then we're going to get brushing. Inspector Goat's Good Crusade. Edna O'Brien. Casualties of Peace. It's another one I don't recognise. I think it was Edna O'Brien I once saw interviewed. There was a programme hosted by Griff Rhys-Jones. I think it was called Bookworm. And they were doing a thing on Penguin. It was probably around 1995 for the 60th Penguin anniversary. And they interviewed Edna O'Brien talking about Penguin because her first work was published in paperback by Penguin. And she said it wasn't until her book was in Penguin that she actually realised she'd made it. And look at that. How cool is that? Another one I've never seen before. Francois Sagan. Right, so this is in a book. Evidently this was sold with the book, 1968. So I shall add this one to my little collection. We found a few like that, haven't we? That is blimmin' lovely. I really, really love it. When we find Penguin bookmarks like that, I just love collecting them. I've got quite a few now. And they certainly went to town in the 1960s. I think all the big sort of Penguin authors had their own bookmark. It's just trying to track them down. A lot of people don't bother like listing them on eBay. I gladly pay a few pounds each for them. In fact, that's what I do. I pay up to £2-3 each for a bookmark. But it's lovely to come across them like that. Report. Oh yeah, we saw this one, didn't we, earlier? Cool. Last little pile here. 20 letters to a friend. Nice, nice. Up the farm, John Updike. Lots of these, in fact, loads of these this time round were found in Cheltenham. I've seen that town's name turn up again and again. And this one's got some wear on it, so I need to give this a polish. That's in the polishing pile. And this one is cut, so if you have a look, you can see it's much shorter than a standard A format. Now I suspect that this one has possibly been rebound with the photograph cover on it. Just a suspicion. So it's one I'm going to keep my eyes peeled. I might need to look online, see if I can find another edition of it. But it would be the sort of thing a publisher would do. But it does appear trimmed to me. Ever so slightly. And we haven't seen that since the war, when books very much were different, were different sizes depending on where Penguin were able to get them printed. Oh dear. There seems to be more than their fair share of these Penguin Science surveys this time round. And as I said in the past, I'm mystified why they didn't just get released as Pelicans, But this one on biology. So it was the physical sciences, and this one's biology. I suppose it is in keeping with Penguin having a bit of a highbrow list. He wouldn't have seen this book be published by Pan, would he? Not in a million years. Lovely. Glencoe's, nice jacket, isn't it? Tiny bit of staining down the bottom, but otherwise that's absolutely fine. 75p in that one, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Compared to what we've been seeing, but nice copy. Area of darkness. This is a little bit grubby, so this is going to need a polish. In the polish pile. Yeah. So we saw some of these right at the start of the video, didn't we? Nice. I think that's an upgrade. Another very, very nice unread modern classic. Gorgeous. I've got a new video planned on the Penguin Modern Classics quite soon. Yeah, that's all right. Italian short stories. Lovely. A couple more B formats to finish off. Writing in England today. Feels enormous, this book, compared to what we've been doing in the A formats. Okay, and then French writing today. I wonder why they felt compelled to put those into B format. I don't know. There's a few others in this Writing Today series which are in the same format and cover design, but it sort of seems a little unusual and a little bit out of place. Anyway, that's all the internal cleaning and the first go through. Now we're going to give them all the brush, and then we're going to finish off with a little polish. Okay, well, here we go. Let the polishing begin. Now, a lot of Alan's collection is not too bad, and we're not talking books here that are really old, so I don't think they're going to be sending off massive plumes of dust, but they do still need a bit of they do still need a bit of a brushing off. All the same. Just to keep everything as clean as possible. Giving these the once over is not going to hurt one little bit. We got the B format books, so we'll do those three. Cool. Now this pile here are the ones that are going to need a polish as well. So we'll be putting these to a different spot. Have to go back over there. Right, they can all be brushed in a minute. Polished rather in a minute. What a mess. What a mess it makes. But it's a dirty job that someone has to do. Last little row. let's give the last lot a bit of a polish. Okay, let's get the old Mr. Sheen action. A generous wedge to start. I've only got about a dozen books to clean, so it's not going to take ages. But this will just finish off this 100 as good as we possibly can. And we can do a little bit of a summing up. So, first off, hope you've enjoyed looking through these. I've seen some good books here, actually. And I've certainly enjoyed going through them. Looking ahead, next week I think we're going to need to crack on with the guilds again, some more guild books. We've done all the main ones, and now it's time to move on to those tricky services editions. And we'll just, it's going to be a huge job, a very, very long job. So we'll just approach it, an hour's worth at a time. And see how we get on. I'm not going to rush it. But I'll try and do as good a job as I can on them. That one's got a very faint 8p on the front, which actually is coming off. Look at that. It's a bit of a beaten up copy anyway, but look at this mess on the front there. What could it be, I wonder? I don't know, but it's made a lasting impression. Now I come to think of it, I think it was Pan who owned the rights to this one, I have a funny feeling it was Pan. They're the only other publisher I know who published a bit of H.G. Wells in this sort of period. And I'm just picturing, I can picture some Pan H.G. Wells in my collection. So I think it was them, Yes, so Guild next week, and then possibly Peregrine Part 1, because I think the Peregrines are going to take two lots, although I am tempted just to do the final 100 of these, and at least then I can do a sales video, because there's lots of people waiting on my spares between 2,000 and 3,000, and I've not actually ever filmed those because I hadn't quite finished this main run of going through them. So I think I may do Guild next week, and then the week after we'll do the final 100, and then on my main series will be fully up to date, which is a good time to do it before the London Paperback show, in fact, so I think that will all work out quite nicely. I am intending to do a video where it's my wanted paperbacks, and I'm going to include all the books that I'm looking for, that I'm missing. Not the ones that I'm looking to upgrade, because that's a long list, but just the books that I'm actually missing, and I'd like to get copies to complete the collection. I think I totted it up. I was after about 20 to finish all the Penguins between 1,000 and 2,000. About 20 books in total. Nothing particularly rare from what I could see, so I don't think I'm going to have too much of an issue. But until you actually try and track them down, it's hard to tell. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Obviously, if you've not subscribed, do please hit the subscribe button. It really does help me out. And if you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Jules Burt, or over on my main channel, the Jules Burt channel, there's a channel memberships there, so you can join through YouTube. From as little as £1, you'll get an exclusive video pretty much once a week, and also you'll be definitely helping me keep these videos coming. Thanks very much for watching today, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.